Hello students, welcome in today's lecture. Our topic that we are discussing is the cell unit of life, and in our previous lecture we have seen the structure of the ribosome, cytoskeleton and the cilia and the flagella. In the last part of cilia and flagella we have seen the detailed structure of the cilia and flagella, and these cilia and flagella arise from the basal bodies which are generally present on the cell membrane. So on the cell membrane there are present basal bodies, and from these basal bodies is nothing but one of the structure, one of the surface extension present in the cell membrane, and from that basal bodies there will be the arise of the cilia and flagella on the cell membrane. Okay, so here we have completed the part of the cell unit of life up to the cilia and the flagella. Now today we are going to discuss the two important cell organelles like the centrosome and centriole, nucleus, and the last part of our topic, that is the microbodies. So student, we will discuss first part of the cell unit of life, and that is the centrosome and centrioles. Centrosomes and the centrioles. So what is centrosome? So centrosome is the cell organelle. Centrosome is the cell organelle which is made up of the two cylindrical like structures that is called as a centriole. So centrosome is cell organelle which is made up of, or which consists of, two cylindrical structures, and that is called as the centriole. So see here, cylindrical structure like this structure you can observe, okay, and you can see that this is called as the centriole which is arranged parallel. So this is the centriole, which are the two cylindrical like structure, and these two centriole together form the cell organelle that is called as the centrosome. So centrosome and centriole is the same, but centrosome is a cell organelle which is made up of two cylindrical structure that is called as the centrioles. Okay, त्यामुळे centrosome ही centriole पासून तयार झालेली cell organelle आहे. What is centriole? These are nothing but the cylindrical like structure. So around this centriole there is a presence of the amorphous pericentriolar material. Means around the centriole, these centrioles are placed parallel to each other, which form the centrosome cell organelle, and around the centriole there is a present in the form of amorphous means powder form. There is present amorphous material which is called as a pericentriolar material, because peri means around, centriole means centriolar means centriole. Around the centriole there is an amorphous material is present that is called as the pericentriolar material. Okay, so here this centrosome and centriole are the same thing, and centrosomes are made up of the two centrioles which are arranged at the parallel to each other. These centrioles are surrounded by amorphous pericentriolar material. Okay, so if we focus on the centriole part which made the cell organelle centrosome, each centriole shows a structure like the cartwheel. Cartwheel means cart, बैलगाडीच्या चाकासारखं स्ट्रक्चर तुम्हाला पाहायला मिळतं प्रत्येक सेंट्रिओलचं, की ज्याच्यामुळे सेंट्रोसोम ही सेल ऑर्गॅनेल झालेली आहे. ओके, आपल्या पुस्तकामध्ये in our book the diagram of this section of the centriole is not given, but you have to understand it is same like that of the cilia and flagella that we have seen in the section of this cilia and flagella. So see here, if we study in detail the structure of centriole, then what you can observe that if we take the section of the centriole, then you will find the structure like that of the cartwheel. It is like that of the cartwheel. बैलगाडीच्या चाकासारखं तुम्हाला स्ट्रक्चर पाहायला मिळतं. ओके, the central part of the centriole is called as the hub. So here we will write the spelling. Okay, in our previous lecture we have seen that central part of the cilia and flagella is called as axonium, but here the central part of this centriole is called as the hub. Okay, and around this hub, at the periphery, there are presence of evenly spaced 9 fibrils, which is made up of special tubular protein, and these fibrils are in the form of triplets. So see here, what is here at the periphery, you can observe in the form of triplet evenly spaced fibrils, and these fibrils are made up of the special protein, and that protein is called as the tubulin protein. Okay, that protein is called as the tubular protein. So see here, what is the arrangement? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8, and this one is the 9. Okay, so here you can observe that these 9 fibrils, okay, these are the triplet fibrils. These are the triplet fibrils. These triplet fibrils are present when we take the section of this centriole. In the centriole, the central part is called as a hub, around which there are at the periphery, there are 9 set of fibrils. These fibrils which are in the form of triplet, and these fibrils are made up of a special protein, and the name of that protein is called as the tubulin protein. The name of that protein is called as tubulin protein. So here, tubulin protein makes this fibrils. These fibrils are interconnected to each other. So these triplet fibrils are interconnected to each other. Okay, as well as these fibrils are also connected to the central part of the centriole, that is called as hub, by these radial spokes. By these radial spokes. This term radial spoke we have already seen in the cilian flagella. Same you can observe that this structure which is called as the radial spoke, which connects this triplet peripheral fibrils to the central part called as hub. So this is called as the radial spoke. This is called as the radial spoke. Okay, this radial spoke is also made up of the protein. This radial spoke is also made up of protein. So if we observe the structure of the centriole under electron microscope, you can found it is looks like a cart wheel, and in that structure you can observe that the central part of the centriole is called as a hub. Around the hub there are at the periphery evenly spaced 9 fibrils which are in the form of triplet, which is made up of the special protein tubulin protein, which are interconnected to each other by some linker. This is called as linker, which interconnect these fibrils together, as well as these peripheral fibrils connect to the central part, that is called as the hub. Okay, so this is about the centriole, but you should also know the function of the centriole. What is the function of the centriole? So this centriole form the basal bodies of cilia, flagella and spindle fiber. So centriole forms basal bodies of cilia, flagella and the spindle fibers. Okay, so just I have told you the meaning of the basal bodies. So basal bodies are the structure present on the cell membrane, and from this basal body there will be formation of cilia, there will be formation of flagella, there will be formation of the spindle fiber. Okay, so this basal body forms cilia, flagella and the spindle fiber, but these basal bodies are formed from the centriole. So function of the centriole is that it forms the basal bodies of cilia, flagella and spindle fiber. So student, for NEET point of view, you have to remember that centrosome is a cell organelle which is made up of the cylindrically arranged centrioles, or which is made up of, or which consists of the centrioles. How the centrioles are present in the centrosome? The centrioles are the cylindrical like structure which are surrounded by amorphous pericentriolar material, and this whole structure together called as a centrosome. When we take the section of the centriole, and when we observe it under the electron microscope, the section of the centriole looks like the cartwheel in which there are peripheral 9 triplet fibrils made up of the tubulin protein, which are interconnected with each other by a linker. Central part of this centriole is called as hub, and to this hub the peripheral 9 fibrils connected by a radial spoke. This radial spoke is also made up of the tubulin protein, okay, or it is also the proteinous part, or made up of the important part of the protein. So here we have completed this next cell organelle, that is called as the centrosome and the centriole. Such a point you have to remember for need to point of view. Don't be confused in the section of cilia and flagella and in the section of centriole. In the cilia and flagella, the central part of it is called as axoneme, where the central part of the centriole is called as hub. Okay, in cilia and flagella there are 9 doublet fibrils are present, but in the centriole there are 9 triplet fibrils are present. You have to compare the section of cilia flagella and the section of the centriole. So in cilia flagella there are 9 doublet fibrils, here there are 9 triplet fibrils. Okay, these fibrils are connected to the axoneme by, or the central 2 fibrils by the radial spoke. These peripheral fibrils are connected to the hub by the radial spokes. So some points are common, some points are the different. Okay, now the next cell organelle, which is the important cell organelle of the cell, and that is called as the nucleus. That is called as the nucleus. So second part is the nucleus. Okay, this is the important part. Listen it carefully. Nucleus. Nucleus was first discovered by scientist Robert Brown. Okay, Robert Brown is the scientist who first described the nucleus. But inside the nucleus there is some material which we can observe only after staining of that material, and the stain which is used for observing the material inside the nucleus is of the basic type. So that stain is called as a basic dye. Dye means stain. So material inside the nucleus we can observe by a stain, by a dye, and the name of that dye is called as a basic. So according to pH, the stains are divided as acidic dye, basic dye, neutral dye. So basic dye or basic stain is used to observe the content of the nucleus, to observe the inside material present inside the nucleus. So after staining of the basic dye to that nucleus, the material which is observed inside it is called as chromatin, and the name chromatin to this nuclear content is given by the Fleming. So second point is that nucleus was first discovered by scientist Robert Brown, but the name chromatin was given by the scientist Fleming. Name chromatin was given by the scientist Fleming. Okay, so students, see here, Fleming is the scientist who discovered the chromatin content of the nucleus, who coined the term chromatin to the inside content present in the nucleus. So you have to remember that when there is a name chromatin, there will be name of the Fleming. When the nucleus discovered is given, then the name is Robert Brown. Okay. Now, what is the structure of this nucleus? If we observe this nucleus under electron microscope, then you can observe the structure like this. So here we will draw a simple diagram of this nucleus. See here. Okay. You can observe See here, this is the structure of nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there is one spherical body. So this is nucleolus. This is outer nuclear membrane. This is inner nuclear membrane. Okay, here you can observe the structure that is called as a chromatin, and this chromatin later on form the chromosome of the nucleus. So student, you can observe the structure of the nucleus here. So here we will describe now the structure of nucleus. You can see that this nucleus has a nuclear envelope. Envelope means outer covering. So nuclear envelope of the nucleus is made up of two membranes. One is called as the outer nuclear membrane and another is called as the inner nuclear membrane. Outer nuclear membrane and inner nuclear membrane, these are the two membranes which are present around this nucleus. So the space which is present in between these two nuclear membrane is called as, so this is a space. Okay, so this space is called as perinuclear space. This space is called as perinuclear space. Okay, but if we observe this nuclear envelope, you can observe that the nuclear envelope is not a continuous. It is not a continuous. It is interrupted at some places, and that interrupted part of this nucleus or interrupted part of this nuclear membrane is called as a nuclear pore. Is called as a nuclear pore, which is formed by the union of outer and inner membrane. So you can observe that here outer and inner membrane can unite together and they form a gap in between this nuclear membrane, and that gap is called as the nuclear pore. So here what we have studied, the nucleus was having a nucleus has an envelope which is made up of the outer nuclear membrane and the inner nuclear membrane. Nuclear envelope is made up of outer nuclear membrane and the inner nuclear membrane. This outer and inner nuclear membrane has a space in between it. It is called as the perinuclear space. This nuclear membrane has, or nuclear membrane acts as a barrier between the content present inside the nucleus and outside the cytoplasm, because you can observe that around this nucleus there is a cytoplasm. Okay, so here if we see, this is the structure of a cell. Okay, this is a nucleus and around this nucleus there is a cytoplasm. So here you can observe the cytoplasm of the cell, and suppose this is the structure of a cell. So this nuclear membrane acts as a barrier between the material which is present in the cytoplasm as well as which is present in this nucleus. So material मध्ये सायटोप्लाझमच्या आणि न्यूक्लियसच्या मटेरियल मध्ये एक बॅरियर म्हणून काम करण्याचं काम कोण करतं? दिस न्यूक्लियर मेम्ब्रेन. दिस न्यूक्लियर मेम्ब्रेन इज नॉट कंटिन्युअस. It is interrupted at some point, and this interruption is formed by the union of outer and inner nuclear membrane. So you can observe here outer and inner nuclear membrane unite together and they form a gap, and that gap is called as a nuclear pore. Okay, so this nuclear pore acts as an important passage for transport of RNA and protein. So this, from this nuclear pore, RNA and proteins can be transported. The RNA and proteins which are present in the cytoplasm can move from cytoplasm to nucleus through this nuclear pore, or from nucleus to cytoplasm through this nuclear pore. So nuclear pore is a passage for transport of RNA and protein from nucleus to cytoplasm or from cytoplasm to nucleus. Okay, now Here, one important thing is that which material is present inside the nucleus. No doubt we have seen that the nucleus has a nuclear envelope which is made up of outer and inner membrane which acts as a barrier between the cytoplasm and the nuclear content. It has a space in between it. It is called as a perinuclear space. Nuclear envelope is not continuous. At some time it get interrupted. That interrupted part is called as nuclear pore. Through this nuclear pore there will be transport of RNA and protein from nucleus to cytoplasm or vice versa. Okay, but if we see the structure of nucleus, then you can observe that inside the nucleus three important components are present. What is it? It is the chromatin material, which later on we call it as a chromosome, which is made up of the nucleoprotein fibers. Second one is the nuclear matrix, or which is also called as nucleoplasm. Which is also called as nucleoplasm. And third one is called as nucleolus. Okay, so very important thing is that inside the nucleus you can observe the three important part. Chromatin, here we have labeled it as chromatin. When cell is not dividing, then that part is called as chromatin. When cell get divided, at that time this chromatin gets converted into the chromosome. So chromosome, chromatin is the same word. Then nuclear matrix. So here all the content which is present inside this nuclear membrane is called as a nuclear matrix, which is also called as nucleoplasm, and there is a round spherical body present. The name given is it as a nucleolus. So it is very important that inside the nuclear envelope, inside the nuclear membrane, you can observe these three important parts which is present in the nucleus. Okay, so here you can observe that in the nucleus at the center there is a thread like network which is made up of a proteinous material which is also called as a nucleoprotein fiber, because it is present in the nucleus and it is made up of protein. That's why it is called as a nucleoprotein fiber, and name is given as the chromatin. Okay, inside this nuclear envelope all the content which is present in it is called as the nuclear matrix or nucleoplasm, and in this nuclear matrix or nucleoplasm you can observe a round spherical body, and that is nothing but the nucleolus. So here we have to see that particularly in a single nucleus there will be observed only one nucleolus. So in a nucleus there will be only one nucleolus, but you can observe that this nucleolus has not any membrane. Nucleolus is without any membrane. So content of the nucleolus get mixed with the content of the nucleoplasm, because it do not have any membrane. So it is very important that you should know that nucleolus is a cell organelle which is present inside the nucleus. In the nucleoplasm of the nucleus it is without any membrane. So content of the nucleus get mixed with the content of the nucleoplasm or the content of the nuclear matrix. Okay, what is the function of this nucleolus? Why it is present inside the nucleus? So nucleolus has the function that is the synthesis of ribosomal RNA. So nucleus function is synthesis of ribosomal RNA. Then what is mean by ribosomal RNA? So there are three types of RNA: mRNA, rRNA and tRNA. mRNA means messenger RNA, rRNA means ribosomal RNA, and tRNA means transfer RNA. Here we are not going to discuss in detail the types of RNA, but you have to remember only that ribosomal RNA, in short we call as rRNA, is one of the type of the RNA which is synthesized inside this nucleus. So for NEET point of view, it is very important that nucleolus is without any membrane and its function is synthesis of ribosomal RNA. Synthesis of ribosomal RNA. Okay, so here you can observe that in a nucleus there will be generally only one nucleolus. But see here, if you observe the various types of the plant cells or animal cells, you can also observe that there is only one nucleus. There is only one nucleus per cell. Okay, but there are few cells which has more than one nucleus. You can observe, you can consider the various examples of it. For example, if the Paramecium, one of the protista, if you consider, it has two nuclei. Okay, some animal, other animal cells or the plant cell, if you consider, it also has more than one nuclei. So for your interest, you can search the question, or you can search the answer of this question, that the cell with more than one nuclei, you can find or you can observe the various examples of it. But keep in mind, there are only one cell in various type of the, there is only one nucleus in various type of cell. Only few examples are there which has more than one nucleus. Okay, so what is important, that about 90% cells are there which has only one nucleus in it. But even though, see here that there are some mature cells which do not have nucleus at all, and their example you should know, that is, the example is of the RBC, erythrocyte or red blood cell, is the example of the mammal. So RBC of the mammal do not have nucleus at all. Okay, so in our RBC, at the place of nucleus there will be hemoglobin present. Okay, so RBC of the mammal do not have any nuclei, but there is an exception in the mammal, that is the camel. Camel is a mammal, but it has a nucleus inside the RBC. But other than the camel, it is exception, all mammals RBC do not have the nucleus. Okay, and one more example from the plant cell is that the sieve tube cell. Sieve tube cell is an example of the phloem. So in the topic anatomy of the flowering plant, we will discuss the xylem and phloem, which are the transporting tissue found in the plant. Phloem is the food transporting tissue, and this phloem is made up of one of the important cell, and that is called as a sieve tube cell. So inside the phloem, sieve tube cells are there which also do not have the nucleus. So what here you have to remember, that two cells, one from the plant sieve tube cell, which is the example of the phloem tissue, do not have nucleus. One example is given from the animal cell, that is the RBC, which also do not have the nucleus. But most of the time in a cell there is only one nucleus, but there are some cells which has more than one nucleus. For example given is that the Paramecium, which has two nucleus, macronucleus and the micronucleus. Okay, so here we have completed some of the important part of our nucleus. Now here we will discuss that the chromatin material. First we have seen the nucleus, its function. Okay, then the next part is the chromatin material. So here the chromatin material which is given here, this chromatin material has the important component. Okay, so it is not discussing sequentially. You have to remember that the function of the nucleolus, the nuclear matrix or nucleoplasm contain all the nucleolus chromatin. Okay, but here this chromatin material which is present in the form of fibrous like structure is made up of the two important components. It is made up of, or it contains DNA plus histone protein, some non-histone protein and RNA. Very important thing. That is the material which is present in the center of the nucleus, that we call as a chromatin. Later on this chromatin gets converted into chromosome. So this chromatin, or we may say that chromosome, is made up of DNA, histone protein. Histone protein is one of the basic protein which is always associated with the DNA of the chromosome, some non-histone protein and RNA molecules. So this composition you have to remember for NEET point of view. If the question is asked that what is the chemical nature of the chromosome or the chromatin, then you have to say that it contains DNA, histone protein, non-histone protein and the RNA particle. Okay, so see student, here all of you know that in the human being there are about 46 chromosomes. Okay, and the DNA or the length of DNA which is present in this chromatin or the chromosome is about the 2 meter long. It is in the form of thread like structure. DNA is in the form of thread like structure. It is about 2 meter long, and inside that DNA or this 2 meter long DNA get arranged in the 46 chromosome, in the 46 chromosome. Okay, so up to this you can have up to this you have understood all the parts, I think, and now here we will discuss on the chromosome part. So what is chromosome? If we see the structure of the chromosome, now you should know the difference between the chromatin and the chromosome. When any cell is not dividing, okay, when any cell is in the interphase stage, so there is generally one term is given always, that is called as the interphase nucleus. That is called as the interphase nucleus. So what is mean by interphase nucleus? When a cell is not dividing, it is not in the process of cell division, the nucleus of that cell is called as the interphase nucleus, and in that interphase nucleus you can observe the structure of chromatin. So you can say that this is a diagram of the interphase nucleus, because here the name is given as the chromatin. But when that cell get divided, then you can observe that the chromatin material of that nucleus get converted into the chromosome. So chromosome you can observe in the dividing cell, while chromatin you can observe in the non-dividing cell. Okay, you can clear the concept of this chromosome and the chromatin. Now if we see the structure of the chromosome, then what will we observe? So see here, I will draw the diagram of the chromosome. So this is called as the centromere or primary constriction. So this is called as the centromere or the primary constriction, and on the centromere you can observe the structure like this, or you may draw like this. Okay, and this is the structure of the chromosome. Okay, this is the centromere or primary constriction. These are called as the chromatids, and you can observe around the centromere a disc-like structure is present, and such a disc-like structure which is shown by this yellow chalk, and such a disc-like structure is called as the kinetochore. So students, clear your concept first. The central part of the chromosome is called as the centromere or primary constriction. The role of centromere or primary constriction is to hold the chromatids. It holds the chromatids together, and by this holding of the two chromatids there will be formation of the chromosome structure. But around the centromere there are present like the disc-like structure, and that structure is called as the kinetochore. So here you can observe the structure of the chromosome. But here you have to also see that there are 4 types of the chromosome. According to the position of the centromere or the primary constriction. क्रोमोझोम मध्ये सेंट्रोमियर किंवा प्रायमरी कॉन्स्ट्रिक्शन कुठल्या साइटला आहे त्याच्यावरून आपल्याला क्रोमोझोमचे 4 टाइप पाहायला मिळतात. Which are those type? Those types are metacentric chromosome, submetacentric chromosome, acrocentric chromosome, and the telocentric chromosome. So student, here we will observe the 4 types of the chromosome according to the position of the centromere. And see here which are those 4 types. So here I will draw the diagram of centromere first. So this is centromere. Okay. This is metacentric chromosome. Metacentric chromosome has a centromere at the middle point, so it has the arms of these chromosomes are equal. So this arm is equal to this arm. Okay, they have equal chromosomal arm. They have equal chromosomal part because centromere is present at the center, and when centromere is present at the center of the chromosome, that chromosome is called as a metacentric. Meta means middle and centric means centromere. Middle of the chromosome there will be centromere. Okay, then next, this chromosome is called as submetacentric. It is called as submetacentric because you can observe that this centromere is away from the center. It is away from the center. That's why one arm of the chromosome is short, another arm of the chromosome is long. So it is called as submetacentric chromosome. The third type of chromosome is called as acrocentric. So you can observe third type, that is called as acrocentric. So such a type is called as acrocentric chromosome. Here what you can observe, the centromere is near the end of the chromosome. Centromere is not at the center, not away from the center, but it is at the end of the chromosome. So you can observe one arm of the chromosome is extremely very short, other arm is very long one, and such a chromosome is called as acrocentric chromosome. And the last part of the chromosome where you can observe centromere is at the tip of the chromosome, and here you can observe such a type, and that is called as telocentric chromosome. In the telocentric chromosome, the centromere is at tip of the chromosome, so it has only one long arm while other arms is totally absent. So it is very easy to understand that according to the position of the centromere, the chromosomes are of 4 types, and those 4 types are the metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric and the telocentric. In the metacentric, centromere is at the middle, so equal arms of the chromosome will be there. In submetacentric, centromere is away from the center, so one arm is shorter, one arm is longer of the chromosome. In acrocentric, the centromere is at end of the chromosome, so one arm is extremely short, other arm is extremely long. It is acrocentric. And in the telocentric type, the centromere is totally at the end of the chromosome, so it is called as a tip. टिलो वरना आपण काय लक्षात ठेवायचं, टिप म्हणजे टोकाला, टिप ऑफ द centromere when it is present at the tip of the chromosome, then it is called as a telocentric. But in some chromosome there will be secondary constriction is present, and that secondary constriction is called as the satellite. So it is also important that in a few chromosome, in addition to this primary constriction or in addition to the centromere, there are another secondary constriction is present, and that secondary constriction is called as the satellite. It is called as the satellite. Okay, so what is mean by satellite, what is mean by constriction, that will be seen, that will be studied in the next lecture. But in today's lecture we have completed the centrosome, centriole and the nucleus part. Okay, thank you.